Meeting of the New Glenolly City Council will come to order. Welcome our guest, administration, and the rest of council. With that, we'll have a roll call.
All right, Mayor Cook,
Here.
Councilwoman Grove,
Present.
Councilman Bond,
Here.
Councilman Shammy,
Here.
Councilwoman Wright,
Here.
Councilman Lindsay,
Here.
and Vice Mayor Eggleston.
Here.
Also,
And the invocation will be by Chief Trustee.
Father, we thank you for the day and all thy many blessings. And we pray that you please be in this meeting tonight. Let thy perfect will be done. And bless all that is as we fight this cold weather. Bless our first responders, our troops, and their families. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, I need an action on the minutes for January the 9th, regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston,
Yes.
Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
and Councilman Shammy.
Yes.
Accepted seven.
With that, under communications, I believe we've got an application from Emily Berner, our previous clerk, wanting to be the acting clerk of council. Any comments?
I did reach out a little less than a month ago and said, hey, would you be willing to, do that step in? Because she already can do it. So if it's at the, I would recommend to have Emily back up Chris, and then we'll have to then bring an ordinance back to draft, because all the pay for the clerks have to be addressed with an ordinance. So we're going to do $50 a meeting when she comes in, and then she would hand everything off to Chris to still do the minutes and things like that. Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
You sure she's capable of doing this?
I'm looking for some seamless work right now.
The name looks familiar.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
All right, I'll have an ordinance in front of council at the next meeting.
All right, I take it that council is agreement with that. Also, I believe
Motion
that,
for
If council's in,
We need to vote on it.
we'll do a motion, make it official.
Yeah.
you want a motion to
Move
make
to
it official?
accept
All
Emily
right.
as her assistant clerk.
Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston,
Yes.
Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
and Councilman Shammy.
Yes.
Accepted 7-0.
And with that, there have been a couple of other communications. I think most of council got the paperwork from Mr. Kitco in regard to the city manager selection. Is there any comment on that?
I just sent that out, this council could utilize that. Some things I was doing some research in is one person can ask all the questions they want to, while others evaluate those answers and can be the ears. You could have, there's multiple ways to do it, but I wanted to send out something that has been used a lot, ways to read people, things like that. So obviously it's council's decision on how they want to hold these interviews, but I want to get that out as some great information.
All right, the second factor, I had a communique from Dan Rodewald regarding the New Glenolly Baseball Association, wanting to know what the budget situation was for '25. I passed that on to Mr. Kitco, and I believe he's conferring with Mrs. Harris in regard to that. And I will follow up with him on that after tonight. Other than that, I'm going to leave this memorandum from Jake on your tab.
I have it, I was emailed it as well.
Right, so consequently, I'm not going to allude to it, but we'll let you bring it up under your section.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other communications that I'm not aware of? All right, With that, Mr. Kitco, it's your turn.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of council, members of the public. For the city manager's report for January 21st, 2025, for the departmental reports, we'll start off with mine under the service. Big thing for the Public Works Department right now is, if you see potholes, we have been out actively doing a couple repairs. I'm sure you've seen it on TV, so we were the pothole city there for WHIO, but I think it turned out good, and we haven't had a whole lot of potholes so far. Also, I want to give a thank you to the guys for their plowing and salting. A couple of the snows we've had have been, larger snows and have been more of a longer term of being on the road, not just 2 or 3 hours out and coming back in. We've had to put a lot of man hours in for the last couple, so I wanted to thank them for sure. Water department, working on our old high service pump building upgrade project. It is out for bid. I do have a mandatory pre-bid meeting tomorrow at the water plant with hopefully contractors show up. If a contractor does not show up, they're not allowed to submit a bid because we will be going over some information at the site that may get cleared up for them to properly submit their bid. Water main lead service line project, that is the old section of town. The project has definitely been started. They've been moving along pretty good. I think the only wrinkle a couple small wrinkles that we've found, some old lines that we didn't know we had in the underground. But they have been repaired quickly. They will be abandoned in the end. And then number two, this little bit of cold weather we've had has put them on hold a little bit for a couple of days, but they're still chugging along. There really is no update under the sewer department. Under the 2024 road reconstruction, the sidewalk is still getting pushed back. It is to get completed. The contractor definitely had to get some other things finished up that obviously everybody's being affected by the weather, so that is still on the agenda. For the 2025 Clark County road resurfacing, we are working with the county on some estimates. The streets in consideration are Henry Street and Orth, along with, again, some more ADA ramps to bring up to code, the ones that we did not get completed last year. I do not have an update on the disc golf course at this time. And the biggest one is the flagpole base at Hensley Park is damaged. I did get one estimate. I'm working on one other estimate to get in for, to put that similar style block and get that rebuilt for that base. So as soon as I get that, we will get that approved. If the way the weather's kind of going right now, I don't see it being anytime, soon. They're not going to lay too much of this stuff with this cold weather, but it's definitely on the radar. Any questions with the service report?
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
was the plaque that was on the front of that base found?
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. We do have it at the street department in our office.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to try to polish it a little bit before we put it back up too, see how that works out. It may be deteriorated enough, but we're not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
how's our road salt holding up?
Road salt's
supply.
been fine. We've been getting deliveries. We've had, we've used 100 tons so far, where we didn't even use 100 ton all the last 2 winters. So, but we're getting the deliveries in. When we get about a half a barn, we get some deliveries on the way, so we're not caught empty.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other go ahead, Bill.
The comment on the road crews and the plows, they've done an awesome job this year. I've had compliments from citizens on side streets that they're getting plowed. I even noticed my street got plowed, and I thought, they must not know what street they're on. It was plowed both times before I even got out of bed. No, I don't sleep till noon, but they was done when I got up, and I was kind of impressed with that.
Pass it along.
I think all of council will go along with that, the fact that we appreciate the job that they have done. It's been a tremendous job being the snows that we've had, even though I think in other years we've had some larger snows. but these two have been a little practical, and along with this cold weather, it hasn't helped. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I have a question. I know how hard that work is, like plowing roads and stuff, because I have some friends that do it. So I was just wondering, like, how is everybody doing? Do you guys feel like you need to hire somebody, like another person to help get things done? Not saying it didn't get done, but I'm worried about them not getting enough sleep and stuff. Sometimes my friend would go out for like 10 hours and then only be home for 3 hours to sleep and then have to go back out for another 17.
We do find there, so what we do is we have one CDL vehicle and one that is not. We'll typically run anywhere from 12 to 16-hour shifts, and if they're going all night, we'll shorten that shift up a little bit. And we have more plow personnel than we have, because the water crew also assists at night, which they've had in a couple of these storms. We only have so many salt trucks and plow trucks, so we do have enough personnel. We'll run 2 or 3. So then when they're done, the other 2 or 3 coming in, so they usually, we're not stuck with everybody is in and then everybody's out while the snow's coming down, but we're doing okay. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
And another question, would it be wise to look into one more plow truck, especially with these new housing units coming in the future?
So right now, we use 1 plow truck per quadrant of the city, and
Okay.
we have 7. So we usually only use 4, and then use a couple others on the daytime to do finishing cleanup. So we do have quite a few plows for the miles of road that we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I just wanted to make sure everybody
Sure.
was like, okay, sleep-wise and everything, because that's really hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to our fire and EMS report. Chief Trustee, please.
First off, I'd like to reiterate to Mr. Kitco, we were out both nights with the storms, running medic runs, and the streets were completely passable for us. They did a tremendous job. We had no problems at all with the medics or the apparatus at all getting through. Big thank you. For our report for the month, first off, excuse the wrong report. It should say for the month of December, not November. I didn't change my template. For the month of December, New Carlisle Fire Division responded to 115 EMS calls in the city. The division responded to 9 fire-related calls, 11 good intent calls or service calls, and 0 false alarms. We had 5 EMS calls answered mutual aid by Pike Township and 6 by Bethel Clark due to Medic 52 being on a response. We answered 0 mutual aid calls to Pike, EMS calls. We answered 11 mutual aid calls to Bethel Clark and 2 to Bethel Miami and 1 to Elizabeth Township and 1 to Tip City. Our total run count for the year for 2024 was 1,642 runs. For 2023, we did 1,515, so an increase of 127 calls for the year. As always, we still have our free smoke detector program going on. All you need to do is call the station or come by. And I can answer any questions. And as of right now, for this month, we are at 103 runs already.
Wow.
Any comments?
Wow.
Thank you, Chief Trustee. Moving on to the Planning and Zoning and Mayor's Court case report. On your Planning Department report, that one should say December. I think we're all forgetting what month it is right now. But I did send a corrected one out for the paper and stuff like that. It is slowing down, obviously, with the weather, but I have heard the code enforcement be on the phones, working on some things still as we go. But I can try to entertain any questions or anything about the Planning Department report.
Any questions? Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, I noticed we have a couple new roads, our Lightfoot Court, Reserve Parkway, and Monroe Way. I was curious how we get the names for these new plat roads.
Mainly the developer comes up with a name, and a lot of them are because of Honey Creek or something that was associated with Tecumseh, but most of the names come through the developer and what they're putting in for their development.
I was just curious if maybe the public could get involved in helping to name some of the new roads. It would be fun for them and give them some joy to look forward to for the plat, so.
Yeah, if we get a new plat coming in, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, that was all I had.
Anyone else?
And moving on to the police report for the City of New Carlisle, Clark County Sheriff's Office, December 2024 stats. The Patrol Division deputies were dispatched to 260 calls for service during the month of December. Obviously, calls taken were 260. There were 60 reports, 106 assists, criminal arrests 21, felony arrests were 5, misdemeanor arrests were 10, and warrants were 6. There were 71 traffic stops, with 53 of them being traffic warnings, 19 moving citations, 934 business checks, 0 code enforcement follow-ups, 7 traffic crashes, and 1 parking citation.
Any questions on the police? Go ahead, Kevin.
I had another, we don't have a sheriff here tonight. Our traffic crashes have increased like double what they used to be. I was going to see if they had an idea of why that was, or if it's just mostly Main Street traffic and those lights.
I did see a couple on, let me look and see if I can,
I was just looking at the year to year.
what specific, I know we've had a couple OVIs, we've had, what was the other one? Basically not paying attention. They're random. I don't know if it's part of, they say some of the crashes are down due to the new law, the hands-free stuff, but I can get with the sergeant and see if he's kind of got somewhat of a breakdown to see the type of crash is what you're.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if there's a certain area where we're having more wrecks, or if it's just a general not paying attention overall.
I know most of our crashes, and maybe the fire chief might have seen it's 235 and 571. Have we had any at Lake? I mean, 235 has been our main one.
571, Jefferson and Maine will be our next, and then at Lake and Maine, and a lot of those are bumps, not serious crashes, just bumps, but they're still considered, and most of those are due to people just not paying attention.
So our traffic might be a little bit of the cause?
I really don't think so. I think a lot of it's mainly
Really
just
don't
not paying
think?
attention.
Okay, I just wondered if maybe what appears to be a malfunctioning Main Street in some ways, that maybe we could do a little better with. I thought maybe that was causing people to be in a hurry or just plain losing,
Not paying attention.
losing interest in the whole situation. Which if you sit at a red light too long, you kind of do that, so that's all. Just curious, if you could find out, that'd be great.
Okay, and moving on for our financial report, Mrs. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Kitco, council, and members of the audience tonight. This is your December finance report, and it will have the totals for the year of 2024. Revenue for December, we took in $1,073,928.45. And for the expenditures, it was $1,438,127.96. And a little explanation at the top of that, they do both include the $500,000 transfer from the general fund. So that's revenue going into the American Rescue Fund, which is the loan to help us pay our vendor that's doing our street work. And then, of course, it's in the expense side when we pay the vendor. So those numbers are included in that. So total year-to-date for the revenue is $10,845,080.10. Your expenditures for the year are $9,702,638.20. On our statement of cash, we began January 1st of 2024 with $8,114,991.22, and we're ending on December 31st of 2024 with $8,984,857.80. And that's your cash balances. The rest of it are your reconciliations for your bank accounts. The next report is your monthly, the net income tax collection. For December, CCA collected $111,723.77. for a year-to-date of $2,076,803.84, a little over 5.5% higher than what they collected in 2023. And I have one more report that didn't get added, but I was hoping to just go over it real quick, and that's the interest income. That's always exciting for me. So we were looking at trying to hit that $300,000, and we did. December, we were able to add $30,321 to our interest income, still averaging between 4.7 and almost 5% on some of the CDs that we have. So our year-to-date collected in 2024 is $329,229.22 in interest with the money that we have in the bank. That's excellent. Then the next report is our mayor's court for the month of December. Traffic and fines came in at $3,215. Their year-to-date collections for their fines and court costs are $51,043.80. And I believe the rest of the reports are in the packet, and I can entertain any questions.
Any comment? Go ahead, Kathy.
I do have a couple. The CCA, that's where we pay our taxes to up in Cleveland, correct?
Correct.
They have a couple of small checks, and this is just a really question because I don't understand. One check was for 89 and the other was for 2,000 something. Do they get a percentage of the money that they get back, or?
No. The report that you're looking at on our checks report, those are underneath our payroll.
Right.
So that is what we withhold for our employees, and we pay to CCA for the taxes.
Oh,
But
and you're
they're
sending it to
our
see,
city
I
tax
gotcha. Yeah, I thought that was odd. So they just actually get a flat fee, don't they?
So they do. They
Okay.
charge a percentage. This year, it actually was very low. It was probably going to be about $60,000. So they do all that collection for less than a half of an employee would cost us to have to do that work.
So that's still a really good deal for us then.
It's still doing
That's
very well.
really good.
And we do have Colleen Ray in the office that sets appointments with anybody that needs assistance with their tax returns or has questions. It is sometimes difficult to get someone on the phone at CCA at different times.
Right.
So she's there to assist too.
So Colleen Ray is who
Colleen
they'll
Ray.
ask for?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I did have another one, though. I saw another one of the checks that we paid out to Clark County Commissioners. I'm just curious why we were paying Clark County Commissioners.
Let me see, what check number do you have?
I don't have the check number. It's almost
Do you have the
$4,000.
dollar amount?
$3,797.
So that check was the money that we collected for our, let me see if I can do this off the top of my head. Our new, it's not the COVID money.
Is it the opioid thing?
Thank you.
Is that opioid?
Yes.
Okay.
We got those checks in December, so we went ahead and pay it out, and that's a wash. We pay them
Okay.
exactly what we
I
quoted.
just thought that was funny. It's like, why are we paying Clark County Commissioners?
And I'm glad you asked. Any other questions? on
Nope,
that?
that's it for now. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
I need a motion to accept the finance report and a motion for the mayor's court.
So moved for finance.
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston,
Yes.
Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
and Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Move to accept mayor report.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston,
Yes.
Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
and Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Accepted 7-0.
All right.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Harris. Moving down to B, informational items under discussion topics, 2025 fireworks. I want to go ahead and set a date for that. And I think, Mr. Cook, you had talked about to the gentleman on maybe looking at the Saturday before or the 5th for the Saturday and going to get the date set so I can get a contract.
I talked with Mike Elsner from American Fireworks, and he basically alluded to the fact that we would be better to stay with that Saturday before the 4th in order to draw the crowd that we want. The fact of everybody having fireworks on the 4th, we would probably diminish our crowd by quite a bit and also diminish the show. I think in the past we have gotten an excellent show from them folks. I also inquired as to whether or not Evans had made any inroads as far as their show. He said no, they had not, and last year they also did a very last minute situation. I think the main thing that we have to do is have you talk to,
Still working on a location.
yeah, that's going to be the problem. If we try and shoot from our present location that we've had done in the past, I think we're going to be over the top of that new housing project, and consequently, we may not be able to shoot there. So one of two things. We either have to find a new spot. Somebody had mentioned shooting them off in Mel, Chris,
That's my second option. I will get in contact with him probably tomorrow. He's my backup.
he, as I understand it, somebody had relayed to me that he was not talking to the city.
Okay.
Now, who, why, whatever, I don't know.
I will make contact still. I do know him.
All right.
So I will at least make that contact and, because I'm unaware.
If that would be the case, then I think at the next meeting, we need to kind of solidify what we're going to do and where we're going, the date. As far as I'm concerned, the Saturday before is I have no problem with. However, I think it's going to depend upon the location and who we marry up with in the long run to get this done.
So as a complete backup, if I cannot get either place to shoot off those fireworks, I'm running short on area. I thought about north of Van Crest and the field across from your shop, but we have too many buildings and everything like within that area, because I think it's 100 feet per inch of shell. So you have to have, I think it's minimum 500 feet for
Right.
our show from the launch site. Doesn't seem like very far, but when you plot that on a map, that 500-foot circle is huge.
Right.
So I'm open to suggestions if anybody has a place, but we're running low on field area to launch. I'd hate to say that there's a potential to not be able to set off fireworks at some time, but there is that potential. I just wanted to bring it up if I can't get either place to do it now, if there's any other options.
My suggestion, go ahead, Kathy.
I don't know who the mic person you guys are talking about is. Is that the place by the waterworks down there?
No, that one would be D.R. Horton. I'm working with where it used to be behind the water.
He's got the
plant.
big hill back there,
Mhm.
and I thought maybe that would be a really good location.
That's where it is normally.
No,
if some-
no, okay, then I'm in the wrong spot. Our other sewer by the bike path, the big hill by Goodall, on down that way. I don't know the name of that road.
Oh, Garfield?
Yeah, Garfield, the end of Garfield, it goes up that hill to
Mhm.
that, he's got a bunch of stuff back there.
Okay, so I know the gentleman there. Our problem is going to be, our plant is all fenced off. And probably parking would be our biggest issue, probably, and trying to get that many people into that area. There's a lot of equipment up there.
Right,
Yeah.
but if we could park down by our little park there on 571, I can't think of the name of it, Bobo Park or whatever it's called, maybe park in there, and if the guy across the street would let us park around his pond or something, or that would be another place to shoot him off possibly over there. There's
Yeah.
not many houses way back there in that corner either.
There is a house actually up behind the grain elevator. that is.
I know
up.
there's one, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it could very well be within that 500 feet.
Yeah, I don't know how far it is.
So I'll look into the location.
Okay.
Bill, do you have some?
Are, are you thinking, or council's thinking, whatever, that there's gonna be houses built by July over here where we used to do it? Will we do it now?
We're
They're gonna fill
approving,
them up, they're gonna fill them up that quick?
well, we're approving permits, and it doesn't take but one person to want to purchase one of them cul-de-sac lots to throw the whole thing off. Now, that's what our conversation is right now is, are you able to put someone on hold and not build their house until after, July 1? You know, back on that cul-de-sac. I don't know. I know both developers right now are putting permits through, which I was gonna update, but while we're here, that they're already getting ready to dig foundations within the next couple of weeks for 2 model homes and 2 regular homes on one, and possibly 2 model homes on the other.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
think, go ahead.
He
You
said
know,
thank you.
I think the next thing, well, go ahead, Mr. Bond.
But, so there isn't enough room, like if you go back against those woods or whatever?
We
Because I'm
get-
guessing the houses they're gonna build are gonna be at the Brubaker end of the development, their model homes and that.
So the model homes are gonna go closer to on the north end.
Yeah.
The minute they say, hey, I'm trying to sell a home, they don't sell any particular lot.
And just whatever somebody wants to pick.
Yeah, yep. As a matter of fact, the one development, the 2 homes that are picked aren't even close to where their models are gonna be.
They want their space.
Yeah. At least for a little while.
Right. But I guess there's not, like behind my shop, if you go back close to the woods, it's still not far enough away, I'm guessing.
I'll try and plot, and it's get people close enough, but not be too far away. There's some parking by your place, there's some parking, but there's not a lot.
But it still would not be a bad view from the grocery store.
No. So
To
that's what I'm
there,
shooting
so-
for. I'll look at a couple of these spots and just see where I can get my footage and talk to the property owners.
You can use my backyard if you want.
Mine too. We're on a hill.
I think we're within the 500 feet.
Chief
No.
don't care.
Your neighbor disagrees.
So at least we're looking at the last Saturday of June.
That would be my personal thought. I don't know what the rest of the council would.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
we have done it the weekend prior to the 4th. I think just about ever since we've started doing fireworks again in the city. So if council would like to go ahead and set that weekend, I think it's July,
June
June 20th is Saturday.
yeah, June 28th, I was in the wrong month, sorry. That 28th, we'll go ahead and set that, that'll give the manager a date to propose to the locations that he's checking on. And if nothing else, we just cancel it if we can't find a place. I mean, it won't be set in stone, I don't have a problem with doing it the weekend before, because we've always done it that way. So if you need a motion for that, I'll put that into a motion.
Second.
Did you get that, ma'am?
Yep, motion to set the date as June 28th, 2025. Shoot.
Do we set the time too, or does the?
It's
what,
usually at
6 to 8?
dusk.
Pardon me?
Dusk
Oh,
or,
dusk?
Yeah.
So that'd be in June, probably about what, 9:30, 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I think they start firing them off at 10.
10?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston. Yes. Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
Councilman Sheen.
Yes.
7-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on, next intergovernmental meeting is March 31st at Heritage Hall. It begins here at 6 PM. Looking for a head count and where council may, want to get catering for the event.
Go ahead.
Be there, Lee's.
I know it's been leads in the past, but
We've
if
done
we don't have a
Lee's,
whole,
We've done Franco's.
Franco's is real good.
We've done several different ones.
Well, the last one I remember was Tecumseh High School, and they had the chicken place. So,
Roast
Go ahead,
chicken from Melody.
How about the, I can't think of the name of it, it's by the highway, River or something barbecue?
Hickory River.
Hickory, yeah, Hickory River, that, they do catering.
Yeah.
How about that? They have a $9.50 lunch special, I don't know if that works for catering, but it's a sandwich and 2 sides and a salad.
well,
Either.
let me ask a question.
Sure.
Do you think we ought to try and get somebody local?
Well, I had wondered that, but I don't know who we have that caters local.
Well, you have both the Famous Recipe and
Oh,
Franco, the foodie.
Franco's is good.
That's usually about the only two that I'm aware of, unless,
There's an individual we might be able to contact that does more of a home-style catering, wedding events, things like that. It's an individual that we utilized.
Use it for the party one year.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's another option too.
well, let's leave that can we leave that open? And probably we need to get with the lady over at Tecumseh, not Paula, but her compadre over there, because they usually set that up and she sends out the invites. She could probably give us a head count.
Yeah, I'm gonna make contact with the county, schools, township, and
Okay.
see, and get
All
everybody.
right.
So how many do I anticipate from council being there?
What time is it at?
6 PM here.
Yeah.
31st,
Oh, this one?
March 31st?
March 31st at 6. I hear the meetings are typically about a half hour and then pretty much eat and talk.
Well, usually they come in and eat, I think was the way it was done over there, and then go into your meeting after that very shortly.
Yeah, because it's Tecumseh's actual physical board meeting, correct?
I'll be there, Howie.
Two,
I'll be there.
okay.
I'll go.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down to 1.
You going? Are you going to the thing?
I'll let you know later.
Okay, well.
I'm putting it on my
One or
calendar.
so is not gonna break the
Yeah.
thing when you're catering, so I at least got us here, so, okay.
What did they have, 50 the last time?
Where's it gonna
I'd
be at
say
here?
roughly that,
Here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it'll be here. All right, moving on, in your packet was the financial disclosure form. You may have gotten this at your house, emailed, whatever, but I just wanted to bring it up at the meeting for your 2024 financial disclosure statements to be filed. All the information is there. It was just a reminder. And then, moving on to the, real quick, I have the warming center flyer that was in there because of the weather. We do have 2 locations, New Carlisle Library and the New Carlisle Church of the Brethren, which are local. None of them really are 24/7 as of now, but this was confirmed with the Clark County EMA. And then the next item was the firearm carry update. I was motioned by council to get with our law director on getting basically some information back to council for an update on allowing the carry of firearms in certain facilities here at the city. So information was sent to council with some information based on the findings. And I just wanted to bring that up for discussion.
I talked with Jake this morning, and I think you all got a copy of this. Primarily, for us to do it, we're looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 for the increased insurance protection. I think 2 factors that we've got to consider. The fact that if you're an open carry person, you're coming in here with no advanced training, whereas the school board is providing training for their personnel and also a lockbox for that gun to be locked up during the day. unless needed. Is there any comment in regard to Jake's memo? Go ahead, Bill.
I have a question or comment you just made. What do you mean if you're open carry and you're coming in here with absolutely no training?
The open carry means that anyone,
You're talking about constitutional carry.
well,
Because I open carry and I have a license and I am trained.
that's a CCW in my estimation, but I'll leave your words as you please. But an open carry is anybody without any training or any CCW that's walking in here with a gun displayed upon his hip, as long as it's not covered by another piece of apparel.
But constitutional carry, you don't have to open carry it to carry. So we can set guidelines to where it has to be covered up, that it can't be displayed, if we so choose.
In my estimation, when you cover that gun up, you're now with a concealed carry. And I believe that the state has passed that fact that you need a license.
No, they have not. You can carry concealed with concealed carry, and it is a state law.
Well,
Changed this past year.
please,
It changed this past year under DeWine.
I don't think that's going to be a bone of contention. The contention here is, do you want to spend $25,000 in taxpayer revenue to allow concealed carry, or CCW constitutional carry, or whatever?
To allow the citizens to have freedom and to protect ourselves, I don't have a problem with it. However, there's other things to look at, I think.
Go ahead, Peg.
First of all, has anybody who voted to have them check into this talked to any of the city employees to see how they feel about it?
Well,
Should they be able to have the right to feel safe in their workplace?
and
And you mentioned that there's bulletproof glass in front of Angela. There is no such thing as bulletproof glass. There's bullet-resistant glass. And that money
semantics.
was not, no, it's not. Bulletproof means a bullet can't go through it. Bullet-resistant means it might slow it down. And that opening that's in that window in front of Angela is waist high. Somebody walks in there, they get mad at Angela, all they gotta do is pull it out. It's right there. And it's at her eye level. So she's gone. You guys voted to have the cameras in the back disabled. So there's no cameras back there now, so if somebody makes an appointment and takes a gun back there, we have nothing to fall back on. Now, there are several people on council that I don't think that you are aware of. But Mr. Lindsay tried to do this before when he was on council previously. And when he did it, he went behind council's back, he went behind the city manager's back to do it. And it cost the city thousands in legal fees. Luckily, with our previous law director, she reimbursed the fees. But I think you need to talk to the employees, see if they feel safe, and that bullet-resistant glass was not paid for by the city, I believe, and Colleen, you can tell me if I'm right or not, that was paid for by COVID money.
Some of it was with COVID money, and then we added the windows with our taxpayer money.
Okay.
That came after COVID. So COVID started the process with separation and security, and it is bullet resistant is what we were told to. But we still have that opening, exactly what you said, that has nothing, no protection when they pass the money through.
Isn't that like a little code,
No, we
a
don't
little
have-
dip thing?
No. We just have a little
Go back up
sliding
there and look
window
at
that was installed. And that has, it's almost always open so they can pass their credit card or their check or their cash.
So based on the conversation, what would keep somebody from going in there and shooting them anyways if they decided to? Absolutely nothing. Do you think a sign is going to stop somebody that is hell-bent on doing something to somebody else? Is going to stop them?
It almost encourages them to do it, to do harm on people.
Because, and I agree with Mr. Shammy, because when you see those signs, that tells people that there's nobody in there, like tonight, for instance. There's nobody in here that can defend any of us if somebody walks in that door and decides to start shooting. Not a single person in there. Where's our deputy tonight? We don't have one. That happens probably about 50% of our meetings, that we don't have a deputy. So,
I think that last comment gives privy to the fact that we needed to change that contract before we passed it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to diverse a little bit here. I think we have a employee here that would like to make a statement.
I have it written out because I really. So, members of council, my name is Victoria.
Victoria,
I don't stand very well,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
Go
Victoria
ahead.
Portner, 210 West Madison Street. Thank you. I am your finance clerk for the city of Carlisle. I have been employed for almost 16 years, and I am a very proud resident of this city. I grew up in this town. I feel safe in this town, okay? With that being said, I also would like to mention that before I became the finance clerk, I was your central cashier. I was at the window, then people would walk in the door, I was the one they would see. I learned a lot from working at that window. It used to be, my motto was, kill them with kindness. I always believed that if I tried and see someone else's angle of what was making them frustrated, I would understand more. But boy, do we have some frustrated people in this town. I am sure all of you have been on Facebook, and occasionally you will see someone make a comment that their water got shut off for no reason. Of course, we all know that we don't shut off water for no reason, but we must pay attention to how far that frustration goes. There are times that there are threats on Facebook of employees that work in the office, that you have to make sure that you pay attention to them, and some of them make the hair stand up on the back of my neck. I am sure you're asking yourself, why is she telling all of this stuff? Where is she going with this? I would like to share, for instance, something that happened at our office not too long ago. There was one day that a customer walked in and was extremely distressed. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't do anything but pace in our lobby, up to the point where we all had to get to the back of the office because we didn't know what he was going to do. And he was a large man. He wouldn't talk. Okay, so, no, I know what you're thinking. You don't know what the situation was. Maybe he was lost. Maybe he had a medical problem. Yes, maybe he did. Or maybe he had a gun and he had a mission. You don't know, and you can't trust anybody whatsoever. And that's a sad statement. So we handle cash in that office, as well as residential's personal information. And I ask you, do you want to be responsible for that person getting their hands on any of those things? Let's see, publicly known by people to bring in, basically on what I'm trying to say is, you take that sticker off that door, it's telling everybody and anybody that it's okay to bring a gun in there. It may not deter someone from bringing a gun into that office, but at least it's stating, we don't allow them in here. We can't prevent it. If it happens, it happens. God willing, it doesn't happen. But here's my thoughts on it. If we're allowed to bring a gun ourselves, we have to keep it in our car. It has to be locked up. So if someone walks in that door with the gun, hang on a second, let me go out to my car, get my gun so I can protect myself. Not fair. Not fair at all. We have a can of mace at our window. That's it. That's all we have to protect ourselves. And I just think that it's completely unfair that you don't think about the people that are in that building. We're a tight crew, we're friends, and we are very dedicated to our jobs. And I think that the council does a wonderful job in taking care of things. Please take care of your employees. That's all we ask, is to think twice about this. And I'm not against anyone carrying a gun. You want to carry a gun, carry a gun. But don't bring it into where I work and make me feel unsafe to walk in there and do my job. I'm sorry if I ring. I'm very passionate about this. I was here when we tried this once before and was very thankful that it did not pass. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Victoria. Any other comment from anybody?
Well, Ben wants to go.
Kathy, Kathy had her hand up first.
Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I will. I'll speak to you, Victoria. I feel kind of like I agree with everything you're saying. I think that's why I am not a gun person. I've never been a gun person. I am not responsible enough to own a gun, and I'm smart enough to know that. But other people I know, and I mean a lot of other people I know, have guns. So far, none of those people have shot me, thank God. But I like the idea that somebody might be there to help me out. When I sit here and I see people come in that door that I don't know, and we have no sheriff, and that door over there is my only way out, I know I'm the last one out of here.
Do it here. If you want to take the sticker off the door for here, by all means.
Yeah,
What I'm preaching for is that office.
yeah,
That's all I can speak for. Is the
okay.
office that I work in. And taking that sticker off is just blaring out to the public. Bring whatever, there's no need for a gun in there.
Right.
There's no need for a gun.
But if you had the gun, you wouldn't feel better?
I don't know, ma'am.
No, well, I don't know. You said you had a gun in your car or something.
No. That,
Oh.
the last time that we tried to do
Oh,
this,
okay. I
It was said that we
misunderstood
could,
that.
we could carry a gun, but it would have to
Yeah.
be out in our car. So
Oh,
what good does that do?
what good is that? No.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I don't see any reason for that. That's
Mm.
pointless.
So we had no way for, somebody wants to bring a gun in there, they're gonna bring a gun in there, and I get that, I'm not
They are.
naive to
Sticker's
that.
not stopping nobody.
It's not, my little can of mace is not going to stop anybody. And
Right.
if they wanna shoot me, they're gonna shoot me.
I
But
just
if
see
we
it as I'm the
advertise to
last one
public-
out. I know
but
I'm
If
gone.
we advertise to the public that this is okay, who's gonna stop them?
Mm.
And you're gonna guarantee me that somebody else is gonna be in that office that has a gun that's gonna protect me? You can't do that.
No, no, that's true. But I think some places, like this place, it might be a good idea. I mean, that's just
what you
my
wanna do.
feeling.
And I can't speak for this building. I can't speak for any of the other departments.
Mhm.
All I can do is speak for my building and the people that I care deeply about in that building.
Right.
And I don't want anything to happen to Angela.
No, I don't either.
I don't want anything to happen to, Colleen sits
Right
very
around the
closely
corner.
behind. She would be the first one to run out to see what happened.
She would be.
I wouldn't, it makes me very sad to think that we allowed the public to be able to do this. It's just a little slice of protection. And it's just a sticker.
It's just a sticker, though. Yeah, I get stuck on that part.
It's a sticker, but it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes.
Mr. Bond?
Thank you for the letter there. You know, we don't want anything to happen to any of our employees or any of our citizens, either one, when
Right.
it comes to, you know, somebody who's not abiding by the law. For me personally, I think this is an issue that is more of a freedom issue and a constitutional issue as far as and an identity issue of our city, in that, do we want to be known as a city that is supportive of Second Amendment, constitutional carry, some of the laws that are already in place? Or do we want to be known as a city that tries to, I guess, encroach on some of that? As far as the $25,000 goes on the insurance, I'm, at this point, not comfortable spending an extra $25,000 of the taxpayers' money to allow something that's already legal. I would be in favor, though, of finding or searching for another insurance company and see what the options are of one that isn't going to charge us an upcharge to allow people a freedom that's already there for them. And I think we probably ought to consider, you know, maybe not a blanket taking down of all the gun signs, but maybe it's only on some select, you know, this pavilion, the other pavilion, things like that, and not do a blanket on it. If we do, there's some things to consider with employees. So those are things that I think we probably need to consider. This is a little more complicated issue than just I think a straight out yes or no issue. And I would like to see us look at the insurance side of it, and if we can do it without an upcharge to the citizens.
Giving a little background, the only city in the state that allows guns in municipal buildings is Lebanon. In talking with Lebanon, their insurance premium jumped between $30,000 and $40,000 for that facility. The citizens took it to court and lost. So they basically are still allowing guns in everywhere but the sheriff's department, police department, and/or court. But the municipal building is not protected. My concern is, number one, I am not in favor of spending, like you are, the $25,000. The other factor is the fact that we are inviting people to serve on committees to come to council meeting. My personal thought is, if you allow guns in here, that crowd size is going to shrink considerably. As you can see, we've got 3 people tonight. If it can shrink much more, we're in trouble, guys. If we're trying to sell something, I don't think providing guns in this building is the way to go. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Just real quick, I want to differentiate something. the information is to allow the public to carry. We didn't even touch if we got that far for an employee to carry, because currently in the employees generally code, an employee is not allowed to carry a firearm at the city. So that would be the next phase, and then I can ask around different insurance companies, because I don't know if even Lebanon allows their employees to carry. They may allow, I think it's just the public, but no employees.
I believe so.
So do we tackle this first? And obviously I'll call some insurance companies, because I don't know who Lebanon has. And I'm not gonna say that they don't all do this, but I'm sure if they got exposure, some way, shape, or form, they're gonna charge for it. Some way. Just like a Corvette, you have more exposure on a Corvette, they're gonna charge you more for it. But I'm gonna definitely make the phone call and, try to get some information on insurers for municipal government, find out what that would be. But then I just wanted to differentiate the two, that if we allow public, that the other part of this is employee carry. I know you guys were thinking about that, but two different things.
I think at this point, we'll wait on the city manager to bring back some additional information in regard to this matter.
So right now, I'm gonna look into insurance information. Anything else while I'm doing some research? So I'll make sure I cover all the
Just-
bases.
I have a question. Are we employees or are we elected citizens? Which are we?
That is still a matter of discussion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put it that you're not employees, but I'm thinking when you're elected, you pay into OPERS, right? So you're an employee of the city, as far as that, while you're
No,
sitting.
That's our
you know?
retirement. That OPERS is our retirement.
Right.
That don't make us an
So
employee of the
that'll
city.
be, law director then.
Well, but you're still being provided a, what do I want to say, a 1022?
I think 1099.
No, they're W-2. You're a paid wage, so you get a W-2.
W-2, where
So that's
W-2, excuse me.
technically a paid employee, but that's up for the attorney to see if there's.
I will find that. That's gonna be the next thing, so.
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm just looking for information for an investigation. If city employees feel better with that, I don't think we should touch the city building. I do not want our city employees to feel unsafe at all. We need to keep them, and we love them and appreciate them. And if that's going to make them feel safe, I'm here to stand up for our citizens, regardless of my opinion. I have heard from a citizen, and your letter was excellent, and I really think we need to take them into consideration and their opinion, their feelings. I am interested in finding out about taking that sticker off of specific buildings outside of the office building. I can't think of the address.
The 101?
The-
331.
That one. Yeah.
Finance office.
So-
Say it again, 'cause I only heard that
I'm-
that part.
I'm interested in finding out about taking it, about allowing guns in specific buildings outside of the building.
Outside of our main city building.
Yeah, and just seeing what that looks like for employees and citizens, because it is a constitutional right. But I just want I'm just looking for information before I decide on anything.
Mr. Kitco, when you talk to the insurance people, I think probably you ought to differentiate the fact that in renting out this shelter house, if we take that sign down, now that allows parties coming in here renting this house to carry inside this building. And I think at that point, you're going to see a very sharp increase in the rates.
All right, anything else while I'm looking? All right, so moving on, let me make sure I get back where I'm supposed to be. For the bond and ballot information for city council, under the police levy, the sheriff, first part of this, sheriff, council, sheriff deputies, meet and greet, potential to be Saturday, April 26th. It puts us just shy of the election date. How does that sound for something that's like an 11A, and we can come up with some bagels or just some, minor finger food, and maybe a location to do it right downtown, maybe at our 101 building. I did speak with the sheriff today on that. He is available, so I didn't know thoughts on that for showing some support towards the police levy.
Is the 101 building big enough?
We have the conference area. I mean, we can set some stuff up. The deputies will be, it'll be more milling around because they can't go through the sheriff's side because of the leads information. They can shut some computers down, but they're still, I can verify if they'd have to really clean it up, but tough to let them through that part.
Let me throw another suggestion at you. Do we have a storefront downtown that somebody could donate for that event? That food
Yeah.
for thought.
Did you say April 26th?
Yes, Saturday, April 26th.
At what time? What time?
Looking at about 11. Wanted to get people, because I think 8, 9 in the morning's probably a little early. Let's get them maybe lunchtime.
Cartoons. Cartoons.
And get the cartoons out of the way on MeTV. But, looking at Penny Lane would be open, the other places would be open, so you might get some good foot traffic, get it advertised well.
What is this for?
Council, sheriff, deputies, all meet and greet. We have police levy coming up on the ballot.
Check Masonic Temple.
Any objections to the facility?
Is the Masonic got stairs? I think it's not
They do.
handicap accessible, is it?
Yeah, I don't think
I
it is,
think it
unless you had to
isn't.
use the rear entrance, but I'm not sure.
Then I think less people would come if they came there. I don't know, it's a good
Well,
idea, but.
if nothing else, possibly one of the church basements. I mean, the Methodist, the Church of the Brethren, there are several basements that are fairly
That one's
good
pretty-
size that would hold a crowd.
How many people are you looking at showing up? I can't be there, but
Well,
I-
it'd be, just like you guys did with your coffee and donuts, but just add the sheriff and, let's say we had the 5 deputies currently, if 4 of them, 3 of them showed up, because of whatever, one might be on duty, one might actually be sleeping because they just got off, So really 7, 8, maybe less than 10, and a few people showing up saying hi or whatever.
is there usually a large crowd?
I haven't been to a coffee and donuts council.
It depends. I think there's some days that we've seen a fairly good-sized crowd. There are other days that it has been very slim.
Franco the foodie, he doesn't open until 2 p.m. He may need the kitchen for prepping, but I'm not sure. It might be worth talking to him.
What about the fire station?
That's always been the option. I was looking for, some of the thoughts coming to mind was foot traffic in front of all the stores. If we did, let's say, request Penny Lane, we could probably do the whole, ask them, hey, if we did the whole front, try to bring people in, whatever. It's right before lunch. Maybe if it's 11 to 12, 1, it might get people. I don't know. So it's just thoughts.
She might be down for it, and then, like, you could buy coffee off of her or whatever, and the pastries. Have it all right there. Support a local business, get her more foot traffic, and it's a beautiful, beautiful building.
All right. And then, in speaking with the sheriff today, the February 3rd council meeting, he can attend for due communication, but he's also attending the Donaldsville one at 7. Is that enough time for council from about 6:05 to 6:30 to have communications with the sheriff, where he would probably have to, leave and get to the Donaldsville one before 7? Outside of that, we'd have to, schedule another date, but he said that was an opening.
Thoughts?
That should be okay.
I think we should take what we can get.
Yeah.
He's on the 18th, he's going through a lot of sheriff training. They have a ton of different classes and training that they have to go through on some of the weekends and weekdays and stuff. So as I told him, I said, I know you're busy. He goes, I'm spending a lot of time in the classroom, and obviously he's got new staff. He's, getting organized, so.
My first thought is go ahead and see if we can set up another date, because I think it'll be a very short session.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I kind of feel like that might be enough time. I personally, other than meeting him and listening to a few words from him, don't think I need to ask him tons of questions or spend a lot of time with him. I mean, that's 45 minutes, or, well, not quite that, yeah, 30-ish, ish.
He can
We'll just have
turn the
to
lights
do
on
the-
and get to his next meeting a little quicker.
Yeah, we can go fast.
It's only a 10-minute drive at 90.
I mean, outside of, telling you what he's gonna do above and beyond what, what he was running to do for his department and what he wants to do with policing, it's completely up to council. While you're thinking about that, we did speak today about the 10 days as requested. Basically, all the contracts through Clark County and some other ones, they all utilize that 10 days. There's a couple reasons behind it. One is almost every deputy that's in the sheriff's office is assigned. So they have to juggle people around, and how much do you want to juggle? And, if Bethel's short one and we're short one, where are they coming? Coming out of the jail? They got to come out of the road? Is it an extra deputy going to do extra duty hours? Part two of that is, are they somewhat trained in New Carlisle's code with the stuff going on here assigned? So if they come into New Carlisle, like we have spoke before, as a road deputy and say, hey, we're going to assign you, the deputy's out for 10 days, and he's out for let's say he's out for 15, so we're going to get a deputy for 5 days to come in here and do some work. Or if the deputy's out for 5 and we need to get someone for 5 days, or is the person you bringing in remotely familiar, get him trained, understand the streets for the calls, understand the New Carlisle code they have to write, and, their traffic stop. They do something, they're going to have to go through the whole city code to figure out where our current deputies have been trained on, they go right to it. So there was a lot to do with the 10 days. It wasn't too long, but he felt it wasn't too short, that you're not trying to bring someone in for a couple days that has really no training. And, most all your stuff's going to be wrote up under ORC. And where are you going to pull from to get that? They don't have extra deputies just sitting someplace waiting for an opportunity, to come in and fill our spot. Not just us particular, Morfield Township, Bethel Township, school resource officers, they're all 10 days.
Comment?
And then the next thing was, under the ORC New Carlisle Code, we are going to dig deeper, well, not dig deeper, have a little bit more conversation on additional New Carlisle Code work. Not so much the traffic side of things, parking where, it's marked, yellow stuff, things that maybe aren't the criminal side of things. So if they're parking in the corner, or someone coming to Penny Lane, sitting right on the corner, they're nowhere near a parking spot, trying to, ticket them or whatever for that. Additional moving violations that typically kind of gets let off on the back burner, but maybe bring that to the forefront a little bit more. So I think we're gonna discuss that with the sergeant to try and pick up a little bit of enforcement to make sure that people just aren't parking in front of someone's approach, in front of a fire hydrant, on a corner, just the plain illegal places, but not nitpick. So those are the two things requested, and those was what we discussed, but I need to do further on, further enforcement with some New Carlisle code outside of your typical moving violation stuff. So for for February 3rd, ink that in or check for a new date?
That's with the sheriff, February 3rd?
Yes, sir. It'll be about 6:05 to 6:30, 6:35-ish.
That should be fine.
I think that would be fine. He's just gonna come in and give us, what he wants to do.
He's too busy to begin with anyway, so.
Yeah,
Like what you said.
we need to take what we can get and respect the time.
Do I have consensus? Because I know we had one, Mr. Cook, you had said no, so I just want to make sure that I have a good consensus to set
You
the,
need a motion?
sure.
I move to have the sheriff come on February 3rd, from
Second.
6 to 6:30. Or as long as he can stay if we has to leave.
Okay, so motion to have the sheriff come on February to the February 3rd council meeting from 6 to 6:30. Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston,
Yes.
Mayor Cook,
No.
Councilwoman Grow,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
Councilman Shu.
Yes.
Accepted 6-1.
All right, I will confirm that. Thank you very much. On the reserves at Honey Creek and Monroe Meadows, on the Honey Creek TIF update, that will be coming to us as an agreement in about 30 days for council. And basically, this TIF agreement will be to start selling the bonds from the Port Authority for the project is concerned. Really, the only thing that New Carlisle is remotely involved in is whether we want to utilize a minimum service payment or without a minimum service payment. So when these homes get sold, the county auditor will determine, let's say Honey Creek sells the home at $200,000. The county auditor values it $200,000. There's no problem. They know what the people at D.R. Horton, people at the Port Authority, the bond council, all these people that handle and say, here's how much that this property tax should be going towards D.R. Horton for the project and continue on in future phases. It's going to be X amount of dollars. That is definitely not the issue. If we do a minimum service payment, and typically what I've been told now from our attorney we're utilizing in Columbus to handle this side of the house for us, for Jake and I, is that if the county auditor values that house at $175 or $150, and those taxes are $50 short of what that payment really should be going, the county gets the property tax. It goes to the TIF administrator at the port, with the Port Authority, if I get them all right. And then the money comes to the city, and then the city pays that money back out for the project. Oh, we're short $50 from 3 homes. What we would do, the county auditor will just say, hey, New Carlisle, I'm letting you know we're assessing that $50 to go towards that payment. New Carlisle is not on the hook financially. Really still today, after talking to the attorney twice, meeting this minimum service payment doesn't really change much other than if you do not have a minimum service payment, the bond people will look at that $200,000 home and they have a little bit more room they work with it, so it's called coverage. And when they try to cover their minimum payment from each property owner, they're going to coverage maybe 1.5 instead of 1% of your value to make sure they're still going to get it. Payment from the homeowner back to the developer, where minimum service, they're just, the city is saying, hey, we acknowledge that you might have to do this. And it doesn't affect us whatsoever, but I think New Carlisle being involved would be just a piece of the puzzle that we're aware of what's going on in the project. And that also, if something's going not good, we'll be aware of it. But that's kind of my best explanation of this whole bond port thing with it. Now, there's 100 homes out there and only 2 homes are short $50, $100. Those 2 homes are not going to get a minimum payment. That's close enough for them. It's if the generalized homes that are built, say 50 out of the 100 are not making the $50 each, then they'll reassess that tax and get that extra $50 out there. But they're known at the date of sale, and if the original homeowner sells 2 years later to the second homeowner, it is in the title to be disclosed. It's not one of those things that, oh, we didn't tell you about it, but it's in there.
No,
It's different.
Sorry, clear as mud. So I pay $100 a month in taxes. He pays $150 a month in taxes. But after a few months, I'm short 50 and you guys are going to put it on my tax bill?
The
Is that what
county
you're
audit,
saying?
the county auditor would, if the valuation of your home
Mm-hmm.
was lower than what it probably should be. If D.R. Horton said your home was worth 200 and
Mm-hmm.
the county auditor said it was 150, then yes, then they would probably add a little bit to it to get their minimum payment to be able to keep moving on with construction and pay their debt service off for putting the utilities in.
Even if my home was worth less than his? Even if it
It's the
was.
ratio, it's the value. He
Right.
may owe $100, you may only owe 50
Right,
in your minimum payment.
okay.
And that's really only if the county auditor is not in agreement with the board, with the whole bond and valuation of what the home should
Okay,
be.
all right, so then it's probably not, okay, gotcha, I think.
From my understanding, the county auditor, I don't want to call it falls in line, but understands the project as a whole and goes, hey, we're selling homes for 200, you need to evaluate these things at 200. We're not selling don't do a 200 home and you're evaluating it at 250 or 150. It's not like that.
Okay.
go ahead, Mr. Vaughn.
And the only difference is, one, we get notified, and the other one, we don't have a clue
We don't
whether
care.
it happens. or not,
We're not on the hook,
basically.
any financial, anything. Yeah,
On either one, we're not on the hook.
Either one.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's a weird thing with this bond and stuff.
Mr. Mayor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
So what do you need from us?
Just letting you know when this agreement comes, and
It's
then
just information for us.
it is information from you, the agreement is coming, and when you see a minimum service payment, the attorney just told me to discuss this with you ahead of time, so you're not shocked that the city's not on the hook for anything, that being part of it is sometimes a good thing for the developer and keeping phase 2, phase 3 moving.
You got anything, Ken?
Well, I was gonna, well, no, I don't, because it just left me, sorry. No, I don't. I'm older.
Really?
All right.
Good enough.
Upcoming legislation, you'll have an ordinance designating Emily Brenner as acting clerk with her pay. Still working on dialing in the final specs for the columbarium. You'll have an ordinance for that. City manager's hiring ad, it did go out. It's on the Ohio Municipal League. It is on the Ohio City Management and County Administrators site. Tomorrow, it will be on governmentjobs.com, which we saw that Springfield, Fairborn, Vandalia, all these places put it on there. We do have to pay for that, but it's one that I noticed that everybody utilizes. So just giving you an update on that. And no, I have not received anything from the weekend. I think it just went out Friday. The last council meeting, we were talking about code amendments rewrite. That is definitely going well. Mr. Moore has already shown me some of his work, and he's doing a good job. Boards and Commission Handbook. At the February 3rd meeting, I would like to bring up to discuss I'm going to work with Jake prior to make sure that the Boards Commission Handbook with the term committees, commissions, all that is finalized so we can go ahead and get that passed because we're working on a BZA with we're using the previous, basically, it's a term I'm looking for, past practice to run it until this Boards and Commission Handbook designates certain procedures. So I will try to get the information I get from Jake finalized, Boards and Commission Handbook out to you before the packet. So that way if you individually, if there was something that came alike, because I know this was before my time, we'll make sure it's good. So when it comes here, we can pass it.
You're emailing that out then?
I will get that emailed out as soon as possible. And that is all I have under, make sure I don't have any other extra notes. That is all I have under my city manager's report.
Only 2
Are
hours.
you sure?
You're earning your money.
Well, it's a good thing the legislation's pretty simple.
All right, is there anyone else in the audience that wants to make a comment? Okay, I guess we'll go to resolutions, none, ordinances.
Okay, ordinances, there's 2 introductions tonight and 1 action. So ordinance 2025-03, introduced on 1/9/25, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of New Carlisle, proposed amendments to the Article 6 of the city charter.
So moved.
Second.
Let's see, and an explanation of this ordinance is for the Section 6.05 Department of Public Safety and Section 6.06 Department of Public Service to add the fire administrator to be appointed or terminated by the city manager with consent of council, and for the Department of Public Service, who shall be appointed or terminated by the city manager with consent of council. And once you pass this, this will be up for an election on May 6th.
Any further?
All right. Vice Mayor Eggleston?
Yes.
Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove?
Yes.
Councilman Vaughn?
Yes.
Councilman Shammy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wright?
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay?
Yes.
Accepted, 7-0. Ordinance 2025-004, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on 2/3/2025. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of New Carlisle, a proposed amendment to Article 5, Section 5.02 of the city charter. Ordinance 2025-05, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on February 3rd, 2025. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of New Carlisle, a proposed amendment to Article 9, Section 9.01 of the city charter.
Okay, any other business? If hearing none, I guess we'll entertain a motion
Move
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston? Yes. Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilwoman Grove?
Yes.
Councilman Vaughn? Councilman Lindsay?
Said he.